We've got all-time great draft acquisitions, value. We've got training camp battles. We've got royalty in studio. Eric Edholm from NFL.com cover the league for more than a minute. He will start the show with us, and then we're going training camp battles, and then we're never stopping. Happy 4th of July weekend. It's the CHGO Bears Podcast. Come on in, you holiday people, you. We are carrying the mail for you on this beautiful, what is it, Thursday? It all runs together this time of year. Happy 4th of July weekend. Good to see you, Gregory.
This used to be my favorite day of the year.
Yeah.
The 4th of July, everybody loves, but the 3rd of July, to me, was always the better day.
It's because you knew the 4th was coming, so you could just get hammered on the 3rd?
You got it. That was the day for the real partiers. And this year, the 4th of July falls on the best day of the week, Friday, because then you essentially, if you include the 3rd of July as part of your festivities, it's a 4-day extravaganza.
Yeah, and it works out well for you as you're dying on set, and you don't have to see me.
Die.
Yeah, no, you'll be all right. So hey. Just celebrate responsibly as always and enjoy yourself. Shout out to all our friends that make that possible, that sponsor this fine program. All right, let's bring in the royalty that I just talked about from NFL.com. When did you start covering the league, Eric, at home, and for who was that way back in the day?
Yeah, good question. I think my first NFL-related assignment was at Sporting News. I'd gotten that job right out of college in 1998 or something like that, so... I worked a couple years, then joined the NFL team there. Did a little, but really wasn't till I came up here and worked at Pro Football Weekly in 2002 that I was like, that's really the start of my NFL journey, I think.
We're having Hub Arkish in studio next week, not to let people know. So you feel free to tell any Hub stories, because that seems very key in your development to where you got to today.
Hub was a major instrumental piece in my career development. He's been a friend, a mentor. He didn't talk to me the first 3 weeks I worked at PFW. I'd see him come in and race out in his leased cars. He'd have a new one every couple years. He was like, Mr. Riverwoods back in the day, but yeah, Hub actually lives a couple miles from me. We haven't run into each other in a while, but I saw Arthur, his son, recently, and I'll take any Hub visits I can get.
It's NFL royalty right there.
That's right.
Gregory, you're a big Hub guy.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're. It's okay.
We
can talk more Hub on Monday. All right, let's get into this. You've got a lot of great off-season content. People should be checking out at NFL.com. You're doing your top 5 draft value list looking back in time. How far back did you go? What was your criteria there?
Yeah, so it's the first quarter century. I got now the millennium, obviously, like the sticklers will tell you it started in 2001, but we're going from the start of the 2000 draft up to present. And obviously you got to there's some bias and time that weighs on the favor of the guys drafted in the first decade or so, because most of their careers are over with now and stuff. So, how do you grade like a Jordan Mailata? The Eagles found this guy in the middle of nowhere in 7th round. I didn't put him on my list because he's only had like 4 seasons, but if I did this 2 or 3 years from now, he'd probably be on the list. So it was tough, and it did kind of tend to lean towards the older guys a little bit just because of the body of work. But man, it was more fun than I thought it would be, kind of looking back and realizing like, wow, that dude went ahead of this guy, or how did so-and-so, this guy was a consensus first rounder, but Richard Sherman can fall to round 5 or whatever. So it's just a good reminder of like what positions tend to go heavier in rounds 1 and 2 and which ones you can maybe wait on a little bit. And so it's just, it's a good kind of look back at the last 25 drafts or so.
Well, the Bears are always trying to solve the quarterback conundrum, so I'm curious.
They're not on the list at QB, although there is a little tangent. There is a little tangent in there that I want to get to, but go ahead.
Yeah, I am curious. Like, who is your highest valued quarterback? Because, like, I guess just off the top of my head, one of the guesses I would give is Russell Wilson.
He's in there.
He's in there. I can't remember off the top of my head. I've been cranking these things out like nuts, but I think Tom Brady has to be he just makes the cut because he's in the 2000s. Right. So I think he was number one. I think Lamar was on there too.
Brady Rodgers. He would
have gone higher. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers was on there. So I had some first round picks, but Russell Wilson definitely made the cut.
Yeah, you had Brady, Rodgers, Russ.
Because I remember being so upset as a Bears fan because that was a prime year to draft Russell Wilson. They were kind of in flux with Jay Cutler. What do you do? And I remember Bears fans back then saying, you can't get rid of Jay because who are they going to get that's better than him? And I'm like, well, you got to try. And then, of course, typical Bears, they instead of getting rid of Jay and forcing your decision to have to get a quarterback, maybe you do draft Russell Wilson. You rationalize why you don't need Russell Wilson because you already have Jay, and then the rest is history for the Seahawks.
Well, first of all, imagine what a Russell Wilson, Jay Cutler quarterback room, just from a personality standpoint, would have offered. That would have been pretty fun. That would have been, Mr. Positive, go Seahawks. Now, of course, go Bears, whatever, versus Jay, who maybe didn't have quite the same level of
don't care bear
into that stuff. Yeah.
Bears that made the list. Do you want to gander or guess? Gregory, did I give this away? Have you looked at my notes on this that I put on our group thing?
I surprised you too.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, running back wise, I was wondering, are we gonna get in there? Are the Bears gonna get in there? I could say we, and they do. You put Forte on the list. It was a second round pick, as people I'm sure remember. 44th overall in 2008. Now your top ahead of him were Kamara, LaShawn McCoy, Derrick Henry, who was 45th overall, one after Matt Forte, if you just go that way. And then your number one was Frank Gore, who was a third round pick. But shout out Matt Forte. How hard of a decision was that?
Yeah, there were a lot of – I'd have to go back and look at the list, whatever, but there were a lot of guys who I think were in the running for that fifth spot. Really, the fourth and fifth spots I think were pretty, open game or whatever. And, Matt's one of those guys. Obviously we all live in the Chicago area. We remember what he did. He's a good dude too, and he's stayed kind of active around the city, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's easy if you don't live in these parts to kind of remember just how good he was, how smooth and fluid, and also how big he was. And so – you have kind of a downhill runner with grace and who could catch the ball and do all the things he could do. Just stacking up the players that were in consideration, he kept kind of coming ahead, even if he did have that, at least nationally speaking, I think a little bit of an underrated career. But I didn't know the only guy going into this thing that I thought was pretty guaranteed to have a Bears player on the list. I think it was Lance Briggs. I think it was the only one that I went into this thing thinking, yeah, he's probably going to make it. I can't imagine him not. So I was a little surprised that I ended up getting a couple other guys in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get, Matt Forte, pride of Tulane, that certainly, one of our favorite Bears. And, for a period of time, that offensive arsenal that they had with Forte and Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett, Cutler at quarterback, it was kind of one of those rare moments where you knew the Bears were going to move the football. They just had some trouble. The stars didn't align defensively. But then when you look at it from a running back standpoint, this season kind of encapsulates what could be your new list 20 years from now with the amount of running backs that came out and the potential value with different guys. I know all Bears fans have already, suited up Kyle Monangai for his gold jacket.
Kyle Monangai's going to Canton. Eric, know that, damn it. He's going to be the most productive seventh-round running back, Pacheco, whoever else you want to name included.
Yeah, Pacheco, it was funny. I was expecting, I'm like, I guarantee there's going to be a Chiefs fan who mentions Pacheco. I didn't assume that Monangai was going to get Bears love quite yet, but yes, I know that the connections there are strong, and hey, who knows? I mean, we always said you could wait at running back. I was actually surprised how many early round running backs sort of dominated the top of the list there. Granted, you have a big enough sample size, you're going to see a lot of first and second round picks, but that feeling of like, oh, you can wait at running back. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. In terms of the superstars, though, I mean, most of them came in the first 50 or so picks. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, we wrap up the draft thing, and we'll get into the division here. You wrote a piece that might have Bears fans concerned, and per this show, generally angry is how it goes. But I'm just wondering, was there any sort of theme you found in what general managers tended to miss on players that ended up being successful in later rounds? Is there anything that stands out on that one? Because I think it's always this big mystery. Why was Brady in the 6th round? Why was Brock Purdy Mr. Irrelevant? Why right. And yet it seems to continually happen. That's this inexact science that will never be figured out.
Yeah, good question. Obviously, with Brady, is sort of a unique case because he was splitting time as a starter. I don't think a lot of NFL teams even viewed him as a developmental guy. They didn't see the upside, so I put him in a different category. With Purdy, I think it's like his best year was his sophomore year, and if he didn't regress his final 2 years, he certainly didn't step forward. That again, I put that one kind of in left field and just say, all right, that's just one of those fluky deals. And we've seen undrafted guys too. That's the other tough part about this, is that I'm ignoring all the undrafted players who ended up great. And so it doesn't, paint a complete picture. But one trend that really stood out and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And I've always, sort of fought for this type of player anyway, but the undersized in defensive tackles, like the quick penetrating types, for a while, especially when like the 3-4 defenses were really popular, those guys were not viewed as positional fits in a lot of schemes. So, either they were pushed down outside the top 10 like Aaron Donald, or like a Grady Jarrett moved down, or somebody like that where, okay, they're only going to really fit for about a quarter of the league. So that's going to naturally water down their value. And now, obviously, I think that's changed quite a bit. So it may not apply as much today, but it certainly did in the 2000s and the 2010s a little bit.
Do you like the Jarrett pickup for the Bears, Eric? Since you mentioned him?
I don't think he can hurt at all. It's not like you're expecting him to come in and start and play 85% of the snaps, right? It's not. I think one of the problems for Grady for years is that you could pinch down on him inside and really try to keep him contained there because there really wasn't that outside pass rush threat. I guess you could ask whether that exists fully with the Bears. They do have some potential there at the edge rusher spots, but in a rotation with some other guys that you may or may not like. I think it works out pretty darn well. And obviously Odengbo can kick down inside too. You can kind of play around with the personnel. You have some bigger ends. Dennis Allen's had some experience kind of mixing and matching those types of pieces. So I can't wait to see what they do. Shamar Turner's an interesting player too. There was some real fun tape of his where you thought, man, this guy might be something real, first round type of player, and then some low points as well. So you kind of consider those three guys added to what they had. Dexter, I still think is somebody with some strong upside or good potential. It's a nice little group there all of a sudden.
I just came up with a video that I'm going to do down the line here. We can't do the whole thing right now, but do you think that Bears fans this year will be saying, "Oh, dang, Bo," or they think they'll be saying, "Oh, dang, Bo"? Which one? Which way do you think that goes? Because $16 million, it could be like the greatest bet ever if he's effective. Then to also be like, you spent $16 million on that dude who you thought you were going to unlock here, and that was just insane. I love the personality early, but he's never hit on the production level that you're looking for at that number.
I think he's probably in a best case scenario more of a Calais Campbell type of D-line. Maybe that's not exactly an apples to apples comparison there, but the point is I don't think you're, even with the money they paid, I don't think you should reasonably go and expecting 10, 12, 13 sack seasons and just, he's going to rack up the numbers, but kind of more of that force end who can play multiple spots. Anywhere from a 3 technique out to a 7 or something like that. Going to be a strong force player against the run, good and contain, going to get some strip sacks, going to dislodge the football. But I mean, he was one of my favorite players coming out. He had that injury coming out of Vanderbilt, knocked him down around, cost him half his rookie year. And so he's still a little bit behind, I would say, age-wise in his development. But again, this is the time to bet on him in his career, and I think he's got a shot. I really do. I don't know that, again, he'll ever be that supreme edge rusher, super bendy guy. That's just not who he is, I don't think. But I think it'll be more of the positive Dengbo than it will be the eye-rolling variety if you're reasonable about what you expect.
So we'll do the JJ Stankovitz, who does PA for the Colts. Everybody knows JJ around here. We'll be going the Dengbo. So that'll be.
Please stop doing that.
You need to join me and dial up your funnel meter and be the best Brags you can be. Hey, Eric, hang tight for a quick second here. I want to talk about how you're viewing this division, and I'm sure Gregory's got something cooking up inside that Gregory that's going to fascinate everybody as well. We are hang right in there, but first. Appreciate you being here and reminding you that whatever the moment you want to be involved with Bet365, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I've got something for you. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers, you know what happens? You get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. You sign up, use the code CHGO365. You deposit $10. And you place a bet for $5. Win or lose, $150 going right to you. Spreads, totals, player props, futures, anything. All there for you, whatever the moment. Never ordinary at Bet365. You do have to be 21 or older if you or someone you know has a gambling problem. Crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
That's right. And just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today is so much different from those big box stores.
That's right.
Wandering endlessly around the aisles, you're hauling all these materials home yourself, looking for an installer, coordinating everything yourself. Well, these big box stores take care of you. They have a flooring department. The person is going to know exactly what he's talking about. He's not going to be like those big box stores where the guy might have been, laying bricks the day before, and those guys don't know anything. So you have to be, know who you're talking to and know the guys are smart. So pick the right flooring for you and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details.
Appreciate your patience, Eric, and everybody else here. We love you. I hope you have enjoying the program today. Hit that like button for Eric Edholm making time for us. Here's the headline coming out of NFL.com, written by Eric. The top 10 most complete NFL teams for the 2025 season. And it says Bills, Eagles, Lions among well-rounded squads. Then I went into the top 10. You've got Philly first, the Ravens second, Detroit is third, and then it's the Chiefs 4, Bills 5, Minnesota Vikings 6, Buccaneers 7, Packers 8, Niners 9, and the Broncos 10. So you have the NFC North being even arguably more competitive than it was last year, or equally competitive, because you had a 15-win team and a 14-win team and a Packers team that went to the playoffs. So you kind of see it playing out the same way. Explain yourself, Eric. Talk to Bears fans why you have them fourth, because they're going to be kicking now.
Yeah, and I think the Bears, again, I don't have my little master spreadsheet in front of me, but I think they ended up finishing 12th or 13th. So they were right there. They weren't far off. And I just tried to weigh each position as best I could, put heavier emphasis on quarterback, offensive line, D-line, secondary, receiver, and just sort of weighted the positions a little bit. This is just roster quality, and it includes young, unrefined talents just as much as the established veterans. But, yeah, I mean, it was – Minnesota obviously is probably the one that stands out to some people, where they're, like, come on, man, really? I know they won a lot of games last year, but are they that good with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback? I could end up looking dumb at this thing. He could end up being unprepared or, overwhelmed. And They're asking too much of him. But if you look at the rest of the roster, I don't see a lot of major holes. They were clearly aggressive this offseason and, targeting certain spots. I could certainly see pushback on the Packers too. I mean, I think some people sort of feel they're a little bit paper champion-y, okay, same questions with Jordan Love. Is this just a guy who racks up decent fantasy stats, but when it comes down to it, may not be, the clutch performer? Secondary questions, certainly after Jair. We knew that one was probably going to happen when I wrote it. But yeah, I mean, I would say there's a couple of spots that worry a little in Green Bay, but I think overall it's not a bad roster at all. I would put it in that top 25-30% of the league. And like I said, the Bears weren't too far behind it. The interesting thing about the division too, obviously, is, the kind of the cross-pollination, Ben coming to Chicago, the fact that they were so successful in the regular season, but so unsuccessful in the postseason. I don't know what that says or if it was just a fluky thing, but yeah, I think the division is going to be extremely tight, but I do give the Bears plenty of opportunity to compete and move up the chain a little bit.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, you could certainly make the argument that it felt like it was last year, except the Bears losing 10 in a row didn't help, but this could easily be the deepest division in football.
Yep, I think so. I mean, again, the quarterback uncertainty probably is the thing that holds it back right at this moment. Even Jared Goff to a degree, he's got to do it without Ben Johnson, right? We mentioned McCarthy, all the questions. I said they were a Ferrari roster with a learner's permit driver, right? That's who we're talking about now until we know. Love has thrown for, almost 60 touchdowns the last 2 years, but he's also seen his interception percentage go up. He's also probably took a little bit of a step back, at least from the level he played at the end of the 23 season. Caleb Williams, we know the questions with him. Could he be great? No doubt. And I don't think anyone's sitting here, completely downplaying him, but that's the biggest volatility with the NFC North is if all four quarterbacks play to their potential, or at least to expectations. The AFC North, but I don't know. I can't think of too many divisions that are that strong 1 through 4, the way the NFC North is.
Well, you mentioned volatility and the coaching changes here in the North. So I guess let me pose this question to you because I think it's an interesting one. What do you have more confidence in, J.J. McCarthy with Kevin O'Connell or Jared Goff without Ben Johnson?
Great question. I mean, I'm a big Kevin O'Connell fan. I got to meet him when he was a player and got to talk to him. And even in a brief conversation, I'm like, man, this dude's sharp, and maybe that's colored my view of him a little bit, but I do know some people who have worked with him in LA, do know some folks up in Minnesota who say he's the real deal. And you just look at what they've been able to do without great quarterback play. Even if Sam Darnold played well at times last year, there were moments where you felt like Kevin is getting the most out of him, not the other way around. You know what I mean? This isn't like a quarterback saving his coach. So I think he's one of the best. And there were other people with other teams that didn't draft J.J. McCarthy who saw special qualities in him. So, that said, we have such a bigger body of work and such a lot more evidence of what Goff can do. It's not like they lost a major chunk of their weapons. The offensive line could be an issue for them. You look at how the Bears solidified their middle. The biggest question for the Lions right now is their interior. So that's kind of interesting. I would say Goff just because it's probably the safer bet, but O'Connell's legitimate. And I think JJ's in great hands up there with that roster and that coach and everything kind of lining up, assuming Jordan Addison isn't suspended for a really long time or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's like when you look at it, it's like you in best case scenarios for all four quarterbacks, things could go really well, but there's also the other side of the coin with each of them, and you can draw up different conclusions either way. So the spectrum of possibilities for each quarterback is certainly interesting.
It is fun watching you be able to put a smile on your face as you think about the potential failure of Jared Goff without Ben Johnson, of just J.J. McCarthy just not hitting, and
Jordan Love
never really threw the ball at Michigan, and then Jordan Love just continuing to.
But then everything works out for Caleb.
And then Caleb, of course, partnered with Ben, with Colston Loveland. Andrew Dalman settling down. Right.
It's a perfect storm.
There we go. I like to call him Honey Bear, Eric, because
Eric's the one that convinced me.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Nice.
let's put it this way: if the Bears win 10 games this year or more, what do you think has happened, Eric? Let's maybe wrap on that. Like, if this goes right for Chicago, what do you see?
Yeah, obviously, tough start to the season, right? 2 division games back to back. You don't want to, you want to avoid 0-2, and if you can go 2-0, that's fantastic. If you catch the Vikings in McCarthy's first game kind of napping, and then you go into Detroit and Ben's been crafting this amazing game plan all season for how he's going to beat the Lions. Like, that would be one possibility to get there. Big picture, though, obviously reducing the number of hits and sacks on Caleb. Some of that's on Caleb. We know that Ben's been shouting about speeding things up. Some of that clearly was on last year's offensive line. No doubt they've improved, kind of the Sean Payton way, inside out. So I would imagine a successful season has to come with better pass protection, more on rhythm, more on schedule with the passing game. And then defensively, I would say consistent pass rush, whether it's coming from the interior or the exterior. That unit seemed to kind of level off at some point because, there were moments where you thought this is a good Bears defense and the offense is holding them back. I don't know that I felt quite as strongly about that group by the end of the year. So obviously I would say pressure up front and a little better tackling would also be, good hallmarks of a team that improved by, 5-6 games or whatever.
It is interesting thinking about last year. Nobody was saying, man, if they could only get the offense going because the defense is nails. That was a little bit of the conversation, at least the year prior, when they were winning 7 games and were a little bit more competitive. Anything else from you, Gregory, or we're going to let Eric go? You all right?
What are you doing for the 4th?
Good question. Yeah, I guess we did some fireworks they had last weekend already, but I think we're going to go we got some family up in Vernon Hills. We'll do the parade there. I think it's been like, I don't know, my kids are 10 now, so we've done it every year they've been alive and a couple before that. So we'll be up there and then probably a laid back day around the house, something like that.
Well, enjoy it because
Hogue's
we
out
only
of
get
town. You could go steal,
go
just
to
ransack
Hogue's.
his house.
Yeah, go to Yeah, we all could.
I didn't even tell you when the
honestly.
parade was. I guess you could look it up, but yeah.
Well, enjoy it because, football season's about 2 weeks away, and then we can kiss our families goodbye for 7 months.
People ask how my summer's going. I'm like, it's gone. What do you mean? How's it going? It's already out the window. So we'll do our best.
Plenty of time left. Hey, Eric, appreciate you making the time. I look forward to catching up down the road here.
Enjoy the 4th. Enjoy the upcoming season, fellas. See ya.
Appreciate you coming on.
Eric Edholm from NFL.com. He's the best. So, some people actually call Ed Holm. They forget the Eric part. Apparently,
Ed Helms.
Kevin Kaddick, who's known Eric forever, says that Ed Holm. First name Ed, last name Holm. You get
right?
You
no, I get it. I get it.
That's.
Just don't do that Odangbo thing all year.
I know that thing is that's nails. That's gonna be so good.
I mean, you got to laugh out of Dirty Dog, which is not an easy. That's not an easy laugh.
I don't think the Dirty Dog's ever laughed at me before.
Yeah, now he's
in.
Well, he's laughed at you, but this time he actually laughed with you, which is scary for him. But I'm imploring you to not do that all year.
But just speak to the inevitable thing. For those of you who start out not liking me, you eventually love me. That's what happens.
Yeah, but it goes in waves. Because, when I first met you, I didn't like you, obviously.
No, you did like me. You're the other one.
And then I got to a point where I was like, all right, I do like him. But then it goes back, and I'm like, well, no, I don't like him. It's just goes back and forth, which I'm sure a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, no, probably.
Jackie probably goes through this.
No, Jackie's in.
No, I think Carm's right. I think the more you watch, the more you start growing on people, like a wart. It's just
he's like a disease.
It starts slow, and you're like, I don't know about this guy. And you start watching. All right, I get his shtick. He's pretty good. He's funny. He's entertaining.
He's a disease.
Yeah. I think I actually have a wart brewing in the middle of my foot. I think have you ever had a plantar's wart? It's great.
No.
It's a good look. Maybe not. I don't really need to discuss that. I don't know how that just happened. All right. We are coming back with a training camp battles and a special little sponsor situation here. But first.
guess what, Mark Carman?
What's that, Gregory?
We are headed to Las Vegas. Compliments of our guys, True Fan Travel. That's right. We're teaming up with them again. We were in London and Arizona last year. The trips were second to none. You can reserve your spot today. CHGO is taking over the Strip for an epic weekend in Las Vegas, and you're invited. Join us as the Bears take on the Raiders on September 28th. We're going to show up on that Friday. All-inclusive trip. 3-night stay at a premium Vegas hotel, and you get tickets to the game. That's really important because it's not easy to get tickets to this game, and they'll include the tickets with your purchase with us. VIP parties, tailgate before the game, live shows, post-game show. Don't gamble on missing the ultimate fan experience. Book your spot now at truefantravel.com. Search CHGO Bears.
Can't wait to be there. That's going to be super fun. Also, a shout out to our friends at Arena Club. That's right. Looking to buy, sell, trade, just rip open a pack of cards. Let's get it going with our new friends at Arena Club as they are changing the hobby with their transparent slab packs. No fee auctions. These are $25. You could get a card that's worth up to $1,000 in there. Arena Club is the hottest name in the game. You want to get involved, acquire the best value for your money with slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Buying, selling, trading, grading, ripping packs. Arena Club is the safest, most trusted in the game. And right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack. Try it out or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO. You use that code CHGO. And don't forget the event that they're having, 45th National Sports Collectors Convention. Be sure to stop by the Arena Club booth. Big moment on the show right now.
That is.
About to open up something, aren't we?
We are. We are actually, you heard here in the read about the slab pack. And, for those of you who don't know, we really appreciate our new sponsors here. And this is what we're going to be doing here. We're opening a slab pack. I bought a gold one from the vault.
Wow.
And so, yeah, exactly. So
went big.
This is getting serious here with Arena Club. So this is our first time ever doing this. We're going to start doing these weekly. This week we opened it's baseball season. Shout out to PCA and Kyle Tucker starting in the All-Star game. How about that? Seiya Suzuki should be starting in left. He's leading the NL in RBIs, but I digress. So here at Arena Club, we are going to open a slab pack again. We did a gold pack this time around. And so help me out here, Carm. We're going to open it now.
He's ripping the slab.
We're going to rip it open. Look at that. Look at that.
We just the rip just happened.
Look at that.
Sorry that you can't see this too. Hopefully, whatever. Maybe
All
somebody
right.
Oh, wow. Is that Andre Dawson?
Ryan Sandberg right out the gate. Get the solo shot in here. I mean, what are we doing here? Look at this. Look at this.
I'm not.
Look at this. Ryan Sandberg right out the gate.
What's the name of the guy?
What?
What's his name? Say it again.
Ryan Sandberg.
Okay, you said Ryan on the first one, which is an instant fireable
Well, I mean,
offense.
it's the way you what's the name you always mess up?
Ryan.
Well, whatever. Ryan
whatever.
Sandberg.
Ryan
it just
Sandberg.
sounds the same.
Cubs Hall of Famer.
Ryan Sandberg.
It's Jeremy and Jeremy with
Yeah,
that.
he does the Jeremy. I said Ryan. It sounds the same.
Ryan.
Just relax, okay? Over there, Ryan Sandberg. It sounds. Just
That's
stop.
cool that you got a Sandberg. That's awesome.
Sandberg right out the gate. How
Now
about
what?
it? Okay, so we're going next.
Or do you just get one on this thing?
Do I just get one?
Do you get a one?
So now it's saying I received an Arena Club offer for $40. So what do I do here? Do I accept the offer?
You
And
could
give
you
up
could
the
hold
card?
it. You could hold it and see if it increases in value. This is a scarcity
Right,
thing
because it
here,
says
so.
estimated value $45.
And they're offering 40 right now?
All right, so we're going to do decide later. Calm down, Arena Club. You're not ripping this Sandberg 1991 Topps Desert Shield number 740 out of my hands right as soon as I get it. So we're going to decide later.
What are you going to do with it?
I don't know. We're going to find out because we're going to keep doing these each week.
All right.
So all right.
I'd sell that thing. $40. Let's to Smack'ems. Maybe Edward, who just popped up, is here. Robert Lee wants in.
Crystal's like,
Chris
I don't know
has
what
no
y'all
idea
saying.
what's happening.
We are with you. We are learning this as we go. And so we are going to rip packs each week, compliments of Arena Club. Shout out to those guys. We're going to have fun with it. We're going to open some football packs here next week and keep doing our thing. So, yeah, Ryan Sandberg right out the gate.
Yeah. I mean, good work. Outstanding stuff. Arena Club's fun. Check it out. And we appreciate their support here.
Yes, absolutely. And you get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO and use the code CHGO.
There you go. All right. Training camp battles to wrap up our week here. We figured, we are less than 3 weeks away.
In 16 days, the rookies report.
In 16 days, buddy. What's 8 plus 8, Greg?
16.
That's right. And there you go.
Put
Rookies
a poll,
will be there.
Put a poll in the chat of training camp battle, Carm versus Braggs.
Do you have your tickets for all the open dates?
The tickets go on sale on Wednesday.
A week from this coming Wednesday?
Yeah.
It's coming Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday.
Do you have a whole setup that you're going to scam your seats?
I've got 700 people helping me get seats.
Can't wait to see you there.
Yeah.
Last year you were limping in. You were on crutches.
I know they were driving me in last year.
Yeah,
I'm going to lose that this year.
No, you fake it.
Just come back in with the crutches again, even though I don't need them.
Well, I've been wanting. No, don't do that. That's wrong. I can't wait to see you out there.
I mean, you got the Crocodile Dundee hat you show up with.
I don't know where that is on the move. I got to find that. I might have to buy another one. I got a whole new getup this year. Going to be looking solid.
It's going to be exciting. Training camp right around the corner.
All right, let's get into it. We're leading off our training camp battle with our hero from the week. Check out the show yesterday, and we're also going to have a special interview drop of the Tyson Bagent interview outside of the show as well coming up for those of you who just want to digest it that way. Shout out again to Tyson and Travis and the entire crew in West Virginia. Andrew Hiller, the CrossFit champion, all hooking us up with a great time and the interview yesterday. Appreciate the support that nice things that people have been saying to me about that one, so thank you. So we'll start our training camp battle with Case Keenum versus Tyson Bagent. Who's the favorite in this, Gregory?
I mean,
it's a tough call, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's really not. Bagent's the favorite, and Bagent's the answer.
Bagent should be the favorite in my eyes. He's been here the last few years. No, it hasn't been in Ben Johnson's offense, but he's also had the chemistry opportunity to build up with, the majority of the weapons they have on offense. So you get that leg up from Case. I mean, they've had limited reps here at mini camp and OTAs, right? Like you said, they've been splitting second team reps. They haven't done very much 11 on 11s. So we haven't even gotten to that point of what they're going to do at camp. So I would give Tyson as the favorite.
So when let's just, I guess maybe an easier question that we can roll back the tape on. When the Chicago Bears open up the preseason, which will happen on August the 10th, a day before my birthday, damn it, at home, noon kick with the Dolphins, who's the first quarterback off the bench after Caleb, I would assume, plays 1, 2, 3 series, however Ben's going to go about it?
Tyson Bagent.
Tyson, okay.
Yep.
All right. So, and then and then 7 days later when they play the Bills, do you think they flip it or do you think they leave it as is?
I guess I could see a flippage.
Flippage feels very possible, right?
Yeah.
And then who starts the Chiefs game? Is that a battle? Bagent versus.
I would say Tyson starts the Chiefs game because if you are the Bears and you're really pushing this Case Keenum because Ben Johnson likes veteran quarterbacks, as Gary's pointed out several times. He brought in Teddy Bridgewater at the back end of last year to be a backup, to Jared Goff. Well, then you want to put Tyson Bagent on full display, right? To potentially, if there's an injury in the preseason or in training camp, and dangle that Tyson Bagent leaf around to the rest of the league. But you got to put him on full display on TV.
Right.
Which I wouldn't advocate for. I would keep Tyson Bagent on this roster no matter how well he plays in preseason. But I could see the temptation if he plays really well. Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to make Bagent the favorite. And
I did put a poll up, and it was overwhelmingly Tyson Bagent. 91% said Tyson Bagent, backup quarterback. And for me, Case Keenum's a really good game manager. Like if you have a really good defense and you need your offense to score 17 points, he could get you that. Who's more likely to put up 30 in a game, though? That's Tyson Bagent, in my opinion.
Of course.
So I would say just on upside alone, I'll take Tyson Bagent over Case Keenum. And Case Keenum could be a very good veteran voice for both Caleb and Tyson.
The only way that Keenum wins that job is if somehow, some way, the Bears view it like it's just a somehow more comfortable spot for Caleb. That's how I would handicap it. Which I would like to think that would not factor in, and that room is just tight and strong and everyone's getting along and they're moving it forward. But if it does go that way, that's the reason why, at least in my opinion. All right, we can move off of that one. Let's go to let's get off that combo. Let's go to the running back room. Kyle Monangai, Roschon Johnson. How do you see this playing out?
Well, I would say the favorite is Roschon Johnson, but I think who wins the job? My guy Kyle Monangai.
So you think Roschon? I think I definitely agree with you that Roschon, because the fact that he's been here, over a 7th round pick, logically would be the favorite. But the production has not been there. I don't know. I guess I would, which is why you're thinking Monangai's going to win it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, but that job is to move the sticks. Who's going to be the guy that has that best ability? When we saw Kyle Monangai, maybe it's just flavor of the month with Kyle. We'll see. I know a lot of fans are, accusing guys like me of recency bias when it comes to Kyle Monangai and the excitement of a guy like that coming out of the Big Ten and the production he's had over the last couple of years. And we were certainly very high on Roschon Johnson, myself included, coming out of Texas and the opportunity that he had. But I think there was a little more rationalizing with Roschon because he played behind Bijan Robinson. And so it was the art of the unknown with Roschon, that the intrigue of the unknown, I should say. Whereas Kyle Monangai, we have, tangible evidence of a guy that can move the chains and has done it, in a tough conference.
I mean, look, for a head coach coming in here and sizing up what's going on, Roschon, his rookie year, rushed it 81 times for 350, averaged 4.3 yards a carry. Now, last year he rushed it 55 times for 150, so less than half, under 3 yards a carry. That pops off the sheet in a way of, whoa, what happened to this dude? Why is he here? Let's look at other options. Or the other side of it is, I hated the way they used him. That guy can be effective. But I think we've all seen Roschon, and what you want to see is him getting the football and running people over. What you see a lot of the time is he kind of tiptoes through the hole and doesn't use the full force that he has. Now, better scheme, Eric Bieniemy influence, all of it. Is he capable of doing it? I like to think he is. And if he does, then with that frame, you would think that he would be he'd end up getting the gig. But Monangai, man, when you're that effective in the Big Ten, it's interesting. Where are you at on this, Steven?
Yeah, I have a couple points to make on this. I mean, I look at Roschon Johnson last season, and I can't help but feel like he was just used so incorrectly. For me, he should have been the short yardage back almost exclusively at the start of the season. Instead, I saw a lot of him on 1st and 2nd down. I'm going to chalk that up as a Shane Waldron problem. We know how those results were. Like, he just wasn't a very good offensive coordinator. So, I mean, for me, he never really had a chance last season. But the way I'm going to look at this competition playing out, I'm actually going to pick Roschon Johnson to win the backup job from weeks 1 through 5, I believe it is. 1 through 4. They're going to hit their bye week, and that's when I believe Kyle Monangai will start getting more of the lion's share of the backup running back carries. And that's really typical for rookie running backs in the NFL. You'll see it all the time when a rookie will start getting more carries after the bye week when they have that extra week to prepare.
Interesting. And that bye week coming early could play out in a lot of different ways. And Ben's already said multiple times that, look, don't expect to finish product week 1. So those first 4 games, honestly, let's hope they get out of there 2-2 in some way, shape, or form. And then they can hit the bye, and we're good, right? You're okay with that there, honey?
I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Don't honey me.
Well, what's that look on your face?
I'm yelling at Brian in the chat because he said bring Hogue back, and I said quit crying and eat your broccoli.
You know what I love about you?
What do you
love? That's something that I would do. no one amuses me like I amuse me.
Yeah,
and you have the same quality right there. There's a whole show going on here. Steven's
I
talking,
tuned
I'm
out.
talking. But
You guys were talking. I was letting you do your
You just
thing.
went to amuse yourself, and then you sat there like the cat who ate the canary, or whatever the saying is, like something really is going on because you did something funny. You're me. That's why we battle every now and then.
Battle.
Yes, it's good job.
Yeah.
And I do have results on that poll as well. Kyle Monangai wins the backup running back job in our poll, 65 to 35%.
Interesting. All right, we got about 4 more battles to hit before we get out here at the top of the hour.
I'm battling with Brian.
Send you, Brian. Do you? You want to yell at
No,
us?
don't do you.
No, you want Hogue? That's cool, man.
No,
Well,
it's not cool.
No. Listen,
Loser.
Hogue's putting out great Insta content. He's looking at beaches and doing whatever he's doing, and he'll be back when he's back. We got Hub coming in next week. We got Caitlin Sharkey coming in next week. Are you off next week too?
No, I'm not off next week.
I'm off Monday.
Oh, Steven's
you're
off
thinking.
Monday. Katie's coming in. Hey,
What are you doing on
right
Monday?
here, right
golfing.
here. Just know, Carm's grinding. All right, hey, real quick, 2 minutes, and then we're back with the rest of the battles to wrap it up.
1 week from right now, that's right, the Windy City Smokeout is going down here in the parking lot of the United Center. That's right, it's my favorite event every single summer. There is nothing better than the Windy City Smokeout, a 4-day event. Make sure you get your tickets. Tickets still available for Thursday and Friday. Bailey Zimmerman headlining Thursday. Old Dominion, my favorite country band there is, playing Friday night. Cannot wait to see OD. That's right. And we're going to be there on Thursday handing out stickers and everything, so come say hi to us. Does it get better than summer in Chicago at the concerts?
Stickers and drinks. You're buying
Stickers.
drinks.
I will buy the drinks. That's absolutely right. And if you haven't grabbed your tickets, Thursday and Friday are still available. So don't miss out on the best weekend of the summer. Grab your tickets for Friday and Thursday now at WindyCitySmokeout.com.
And a shout out to my best friend in the world. That is my buddies at rate.com and the Rate app. Look, it's coming
I thought
quick.
you meant me.
No, well, you're right there too. But enter Rate CHGO Summertime Sweepstakes. Rate and CHGO, we've been talking about this. We're hooking you up with the sweet summer baseball tickets. We got 2 Rate Club tickets, Cubs, Sox, Crosstown Classic. That is at Rate Field, July the 26th.
Yeah,
all the
cold
food you
game.
can drink, all the drinks. I was thinking about the Super Bowl. Food, drink, Cubs, Sox, July 26th. All you got to do is download the Rate app by visiting allchgo.com/rate. Allchgo.com/rate. Get yourself signed up. Once again, that is allchgo.com/rate. And yes, the best in mortgages. They'll get you qualified in 15 minutes. It's unbelievable. I don't know how I got a house. Actually, I do know how I got a house. I did it by downloading the Rate app and working with our friends at rate.com. Shout out to my guy, Billy Schaefer. All right. We got to move through these. So give me your best thought and only your best thought, buddy. Actually, take your time. We can sit around there. What's the difference?
Where are you going?
No,
It's the 3rd of July.
Good point. Where we got to go? All right, let's go left tackle. Left tackle comp. I got 3 in this one, so a little tricky for everybody. But we all know
triple battle.
We all know the candidates: Braxton Jones, Ozzy Trapilo, Karan Amagaji. I'm making the favorite Braxton because I'm going to.
False.
You don't think he's the favorite? Who's the favorite?
Ozzy Trapilo.
Ozzy Trapilo's the favorite.
I've got him as the favorite and the person that will win this job. I don't think with Braxton coming back from this injury, if it was in a vacuum, Braxton would be the favorite. But he's got to come back from an injury, and how long is he going to be limited at camp? Those are precious reps you're missing in a first-year installation of an offense. Like, honestly, that is putting him massively behind the 8 ball. I'd almost put Karan ahead of him, but I still have to see how much he's progressed and developed off of what he did last year. I'm not throwing him out of this competition, but when you draft Ozzy Trapilo in the 2nd round, like if we didn't have Braxton Jones on this team, Ozzy Trapilo would be permanent markered into being the starting left tackle.
That's not true. You would still it would still be a straight up battle with Karan. You drafted Karan a year earlier. Karan's been here longer. It's not like Ozzy Trapilo
This
picked
is a guy
56.
drafted on Ben Johnson's watch. Karan is last
That's
year's
a fair
guys.
that's a fair point. But like, look, I mean, and there are 18 slots is 18 slots. So if you want to just do it by draft position, sure. The Bears think higher of Trapilo than they did of Caron, picking him at 74 the year prior. But that being said, you're gonna have a competition between those two, and then you've got the veteran. I can't predict the future as far as health. No one can. But I am going to bet on Braxton to win this job. I think that's what the Bears want. I bet they want it. I bet that. Well, look, if Trapilo is nails, that would be an unbelievable development. Any of them being nails would be. But it'd be better if one of the two young players were, because then if Braxton's the guy and he plays really well, now you got to pay him. Do you make that investment after the injury? It gets a little complicated. Steven, how are you seeing this?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to look at draft capital for my answer, and Ozzy Trapilo has been the highest drafted out of all of them. You saw Amagaji go in the 3rd round. That development year didn't really go the way we would have preferred. I also think that he kind of got rushed into that job coming off of the injury he had over at Yale. It's completely up in the air for me. I'm going to give the early edge to Trapilo because Braxton Jones still isn't healthy, or at least we don't think he is. If he were healthy, it would be a pretty easy Braxton Jones for me, just going with the incumbent and then seeing if he could get unseated from that role from a Trapilo or an Amagaji.
Yeah. Also, this has been a hell of an off season for Caron. That guy's been in the lab. That guy's been working. So I think at least most people, although I've seen a bunch in our chat saying Caron's going to win the gig, I think people are sleeping on potentially a player coming out of nowhere in Caron and being like, oh my God, that guy can actually play.
Yeah, I'm definitely sleeping on Caron Amagaji right now. And that's not to be disrespectful to his, opportunity and chance to win that job. I give him he can have every opportunity in the world. If he earns it, have at it. But I don't believe that's going to happen. So in essence, I am sleeping on the idea of that.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, Hendricks in there saying Caron's going to win the job. That would surprise me. Braxton Jones would be less of a surprise, but at this point, it would be very encouraging, I guess, from his rehab standpoint, and it would be interesting to see. And I don't know, man. I'm certainly, it's kind of like with Monangai. I'm kind of already got my feet dug in the dirt for the rookie.
Yeah, I know because you and Trapilo are very similar. We got to get this lined up. The smile of a Trapilo, the smile of a Braggs. It's the same guy. They're just these happy-go-lucky dudes that you just want to hang out with, and they're both really hardworking. You can run your Bears career through Ozzy Trapilo, but I've said it a bunch of times. I'm gonna say it again. Caron's a great dude, easy guy to root for. Local kid, Hinsdale Central. So that'd be an unbelievable story if it hit, and we could start to tell the Amagaji story in a little further detail. So, obviously being hurt last year, not really being able to get on the field at all, minus being forced out there when he wasn't ready, which was unfair to him. That's there's a lot left there to be figured out as far as his abilities. So anyway, all right, we got about 4 more here.
We want to get the results on that one?
Sure. What do we got?
With 53% of the vote, Ozzy Trapilo was the favorite. Second was Braxton Jones at 33%, and Caron Amagaji third with 14%.
Which is, that basically my point on people sleeping on Caron. We'll see. And Braxton might speak to your influence, getting everybody to believe in Trapilo. Good on you, buddy.
Meatballs
right.
unite.
Let's go to wide receiver 3. And he's had an interesting start to his Bears career. Got hurt in rookie minicamp, but the talent is real, and the draft spot, 39 overall. So we got Luther Burden, and then we've got Olamide Zaccheaus coming over and rocking and rolling. A lot of people are high on Zaccheaus. Adam Rank yelled at me the other day. He's like, "You don't like Zaccheaus?" I'm like, I don't know, man. But he has had 2 seasons in the league where he's caught over 60 ball, or over 40 balls, over 60 targets, and he did last year with the Commanders with 45 catches, 506 yards. So I would think that is probably your favorite, but the upside of Burden is way higher It better be at least.
This is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one because you got the veteran who he's not just like to me, I think when you talk about sleeping on guys, I don't think people realize, just how reliable Olamide will be for this team. And when you look at his stats, he's not going to jump off the page to you. But somewhat, I don't know why, but I get Earl Bennett vibes from this guy.
Earl Bennett.
I loved Earl Bennett, but it was because he was so dependable, right? And yeah, you had Johnny Knox and the idea of Devin Hester, breaking up, but you could always rely on Earl Bennett to get a catch when you needed one. And can Luther Burden get up to speed fast enough? Because clearly Luther Burden is a playmaker, and Ben Johnson wants playmakers on his team. So he's going to get every opportunity to be that wide receiver 3, but how fast can he catch up to the game? Sure, you can be this dynamic playmaker, but are you going to always run your routes at the right depth? Are you going to always know what the play calls are going to be? Are you going to always be ready to block? No block, no rock. Olamide Zaccheaus, he's going to block. He's going to play his role. He's going to be that veteran. So, this is a tough one. I guess the safe bet is Olamide for being the favorite. And, I'm rooting for Luther Burden to win that job because that means we have a serious playmaker on our hands.
It would be better for the Bears if Burden hits. Obviously, the sooner the better, early.
Because Olamide can still be that guy as the wide receiver 4.
Right. It's hard for me to make a bet on Luther Burden right now from the very, very small sample size of how his business has gone from dropping in the draft to getting hurt to kind of disappearing. Steven, you gotta pick on this.
Yeah, I'm going to go completely opposite of Braggs. I'm going to go Luther Burden's your starting wide receiver 3. I think, okay, barring this health situation being worse than we anticipated to be. Ben Johnson said it doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-term concern for what it's worth. For me, it's Luther Burden simply because of the variety of ways you could use him. You could use him out of the backfield. You could use him in the slot. You can use him in the X or the Y. And Ben Johnson loves mixing things around. What was it that he said? He wants the same things.
Same things look different. Different things look the same.
And Luther Burden fits that perfectly. Yep. So for me, it's Luther Burden. It might take a little bit of time for him to go full speed and to get that full complement of snaps. But I think by mid-season, we'll see. It's a very concrete. Luther Burden's your wide receiver 3.
I did like Dirty Dog's suggestion here in the chat, too.
Big day for the Dirty Dog.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of shout-outs today, but he's been super active here the last few weeks here in the chat during the dark days, and he made a really good suggestion that
hit the like button for the Dirty Dog.
That's right. But he made a really good suggestion that we should save these polls and then 2 weeks into camp revisit this conversation. I think that's a good suggestion.
Excellent exercise.
Yeah.
I have no idea if we're capable of doing something like that, but hey.
I mean, I'm saying
that
the
would
results
require
out loud.
us to remember.
Or I just go back to the show.
Maybe Dirty Dog has to remember for us.
Put in your calendar. Or yeah, Dirty Dog, you do it. All right, let's go tight end 3.
60-40 Luther Burden, by the way.
60-40. Bear optimism for the wide receiver 3 spot going to the rookie. That's how I would think Bears fans would vote. I would vote the same way. As far as what I want to happen, I would bet on Zaccheaus at this point. Okay. Tight end 3.
Shut up, Chim.
You need to. Can somebody get him blinders from the chat?
No. Yeah. Shut up, Chim. Okay, and sit there and be quiet, Lions fan, and enjoy this Bears broadcast.
Leave Chim Richards alone. And anybody else you want to yell at. We don't do shut-ups. This is a professional show. With professional people, you're a professional, despite the fact that you're wearing a Cram T-shirt. And
that's right. Got my Cram shirt for those of you that don't remember. Check it out. Look at that. That's a beautiful Mark Carman. That's a beautiful Mark Carman right there.
Braggs paid for that shirt himself. He bought 4 of them and gave me one. It was one of the nicest things that anyone's ever done for me. Okay, that's a true story right there. Who do you got? Durham, Smythe, Joel Wilson. Joel Wilson getting a claim from Ben Johnson.
You've seen him. I haven't seen this dude.
That's okay. Well, based on that, if you literally went based on what I saw at OTAs, Joel Wilson I noticed a lot. I didn't notice Durham Smythe once. Not a single damn time. Now that doesn't mean anything, by the way. That might come out as some shot. It really isn't. And I would think that you paid money, you signed a free agent deal, that he has to be the favorite. But you ain't pay him a lot of money. You can eat that contract in 5 seconds. So
become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard. We appreciate everybody tuning in as we hit overtime here on CHGO Bears.
Overtime. Right into the danger zone. Screw it.
Smythe is the favorite.
He is, but who's going to win the job?
I haven't seen this guy.
Listen to me. Trust me. Joel Wilson's going to win this job.
Okay.
Joel Wilson is going to.
Gary's been calling this shot too.
Wilson is going to be contorting his way. Wilson, just a reminder.
Is Joel Wilson going to be the preseason training camp darling that is like one of those guys that's like on the roster bubble at the end, and Bears fans don't understand why, because he made all these plays in the second half of preseason games?
That could exactly be how it goes down. By the way, he's been to Buffalo, he's been to Green Bay, he's been to New York. He originally came with the Bills in 2023. He's a young player.
Mm-hmm.
So
young player, and he played on all these teams?
Well, he's bounced around. He comes in with the Bills. 2024, he spent one game on the Giants practice squad. The Bears signed him in 2024 before Week 8. Was on the practice squad the rest of that year. And then if you go all the way back to 2023, he split time with the Bills and the Packers practice squads. So that's not a resume that makes you think that he's going to crush Durham Smythe, who's been in the league. But he did get called out, and Ben Johnson's new.
Yeah.
So, but I just talked myself out of it.
Yeah, Jesper Horsted vibes.
That's a good call.
For me, this one,
Sweet Bippy said it. Shout out to Sweet Bippy.
We're talking about a 7-year vet, by the way, who started 74 games in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's a major uphill battle.
This one to me is really interesting. Durham Smythe feels like more the Brock Wright of Ben Johnson's offense, a guy who's going to come in there and almost exclusively be a blocker. Last season, Smythe had just 9 receptions. You look at Brock Wright last year, just had 13 receptions. Both of those guys primarily blockers. But this one could simply come down to who performs better in camp. I know it sounds obvious to say, but if it's Joel Wilson right now, this one's going to be up in the air. It's just a $1.5 million dead cap hit for Durham Smythe if they were to cut him. So I mean, it's in NFL terms, it's almost nothing.
Exactly, which is why Wilson's got a chance here. Plus, if we're talking about just having fun this season, wouldn't it be a whole lot more fun if we could be yelling Wilson? Wouldn't that be more fun? We get a volleyball up here on the thing. Shout out Tom Hanks, Castaway. We could do a Wilson thing. Put a little face on there. Mm-hmm. I could use that in my Bears season. Wilson. Smythe's the favorite, though, hands down. Okay. 2 more.
Smythe, 58%. Joel Wilson, 42%, by the way.
2 more. Interesting. Okay. Well, the last one is more of a different little game that we're going to play. So this is truly our last competition. It is the kicker competition. Cairo Santos versus Jonathan Kim. Jonathan Kim, 63.2 yards per kickoff on 333 career kickoffs, 247 career touchbacks. The dude's got the bigger leg. And Cairo has been Johnny consistent, but, he's getting up there. This is a major favorite for Cairo. But do you think there's a world in which Jonathan Kim, who's in the top of the netting on his kick versus the other guy that's crawling it through, can you see any way, shape, or form that we could end up into some kicker battle that is a little bit unforeseen right now? But there was some Jonathan Kim love out there today, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw this in there.
No. Cairo's the favorite. Cairo wins the job.
Any pushback over there, Steven?
Not even a little.
All right, you all are sleeping on Jonathan Kim.
Why you gotta see him?
Let me just.
This is where They got to let me in. I can't. How am I supposed to do this?
Resume. Jonathan Kittle led the Spartans for scoring.
Get on the Metro.
I think you need to do that. Second in the Big Ten in field goal percentage, 905. Fifth in field goals made, 19. Second team All Big Ten honors. Career high 6 field goals, beating Iowa this year. 3 of 4 on field goals from 50 plus. Got a banger. And he's got the big leg for kickoffs. All right, Cairo's likely to take the gig. But when it's the reason why I bring it up more than anything else, when your margin is that thin, getting the ball, at some point that leg is just not going to fire the way it needs to fire, and they'll have to move on from Cairo. But they made a pretty big bet on Cairo, so I think he'll be here.
Is your argument for having Jonathan Kim even in discussion just how long of a kick he could make?
Yes.
His long last season was 55.
I know.
That's why it's not. This is not a big bet. Yeah, this is a marginal difference from Cairo. I mean, the guy.
Well, it isn't. It's marginal in what kick he made, or not even marginal. I think Cairo's what was Cairo's longest last year? I have to look it up. I think it's 54 though.
I'll look it up.
Like there is no difference. But the point is that when the ball goes through the uprights, Cairo, as we've all seen, it's just barely going through.
His long was 54.
Yeah. So. And it doesn't, whatever, you don't get extra points if it hits the top of the goes, we get it. Get it over the crossbar and we're good.
And Jonathan Kim was propelled by a really good, final season, but overall in his career, he was an 80% kicker.
Right. That too. But I like kicker competition. It's good for me. It's good for Hogue. So, at any rate, well, Cairo's a heavy favorite. I'm sure that's how that poll's going to play out. Percentage on that one?
78% Cairo, and honestly, I thought it was going to be higher.
Yeah. I would have thought we hit 90 on that one. But, listen, we didn't want to leave any stone unturned. All right, last one, a little bit different here. And, Grags, you can lead us here. Mm-hmm. Who will have more receiving yards? I'm seeing people discuss this, so I figured we'd kick it around for a second. DJ Moore or Rome Odunze? Who will have more receiving yards? DJ Moore or Rome Odunze?
This is
not exactly a training camp battle, but a little bit of a training camp seasonal situation. Let's go with that. What do you think?
I think most Bears fans are going to be rooting for Rome Odunze just because he's, that top 10 pick and, he's fresh and all this stuff. But, from the reporting you guys gave us out of minicamp and OTAs, it seemed like the ball was going to DJ Moore quite a bit.
It sure was.
Bet your sweet Bippy it was.
Bet your sweet Bippy.
So I think the favorite is DJ Moore, and I think DJ Moore wins that battle. As much as we all are rooting for Rome to be this mega number 1 wide receiver type that when you draft in the top 10, that's the expectation that you become. But I just with the room the way it is, I think DJ Moore continues to hold down being wide receiver 1, and it feels like we've done a lot of Rome hyping this offseason, and DJ probably feels like it hasn't got as much hype, so it almost feels like it's like you're hating on DJ all of a sudden. But I don't think that that's the case with our show, and I think that DJ is still going to be the top dog in that wide receiver room.
Will DJ Moore have his greatest year as a Bear? Will he top the 1,300 and some odd yards that he got?
That I don't think is going to happen. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to spread the pillow out quite a bit.
Well, in theory, he should be playing, if things go the way they're meant to go. This should be the best quarterback he's ever played with, and it should be the best offense he's ever functioned in.
Now, who would have more touchdowns?
You think Rome is going to be more effective in the end zone and DJ will be more effective between the 20s?
I can see that.
It's possible. I got DJ having a huge year. Big time season for DJ. There was a lot of noise about DJ last year that I think has irked him. Rumor has it he's in big time good shape.
And if he gets to play the Amon-Ra role of this Lions team, which I've always felt like they play similarly, and if you put him now in this Ben Johnson offense and put him in that role, he's going to get the ball quite a bit in open spaces.
Yep. I think a little extra. I think Ben Johnson could be absolutely enormous for DJ having a big time year. Steven, you want to weigh in here?
Yeah, for me, this one's pretty close. I'm going to go with the guy who I've seen do it already, and that's DJ Moore. I do think that we're going to see Odunze used in the role he should be used in, which is more of a downfield 50-50 ball catcher. And that's something we didn't see very much of last season. And when we did, Odunze was great at it. But Ben Johnson's a much better offensive coordinator now, head coach, that knows how to scheme things for the players to play at their strengths. So I'm going to go DJ Moore, but I think we see a significant step forward for both players based off of last year's numbers to this year.
I got to tell you, if this thing goes great, it'll be so unbelievably exciting. Back to Edholm, laying out the start of the season with Minnesota and Detroit. The Bears start the year beating the Vikings at home, and then they go up to Detroit and beat the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Town will be going crazy. Super Bowl will be a disgust. Hogue will be saying, don't do that, and then
I will do that.
And you will do that. And I will be like, well, why not?
Right.
That's what will happen. The other side of it is Minnesota comes in here and wins opening night, and then they go up to Detroit and get smoked.
And I lose my mind.
And it'll be like they'll never win a game ever. If Caleb's is bad the first 2 weeks and they go 0-2,
you'll be pushing the Bagent agenda.
No, I won't yet.
By the Vegas trip.
They're 0-4 after Vegas, and we're scuffling. Some things are going to start to come out at that point. But let's not go down that road.
No, we're not.
Yeah. Today was a fun show.
Oh, real quick, I'll give you the percentages on that last one.
Yeah.
65% said DJ Moore, and then 35% for Odunze.
Right.
That's right.
That sounds right.
If the Orange Cast says Greg will be in full meatball mode if the Bears go 2-0. If the Bears go 2-0, then me and Chim Richels are gonna meet up on the lakefront, on Lakeshore Drive, and then I'm gonna throw you in Lake Michigan. How's that sound, Chim?
Chim, don't listen to
You
Greg.
better pray the Bears don't beat the Lions.
Don't listen to Greg. He's obviously.
Look at it, then he says, "Good job, guys."
You apologize right now, Chim.
No, it will not. He's our sworn enemy of the chat.
Okay. Well, Chim, I wish you a happy 4th back. I wish everybody a safe weekend and fun with their family and friends. And
stay cool. Stay hydrated. Jonathan Otten with the $10 super chat.
Otten, I meant to read this earlier.
Carm,
Thank you, J.O.
no smoke. That Bagent interview and article were top notch. I enjoyed everything about that project. Braggs, keep up the work. Your rise and grind is inspiring. Happy 4th, everyone. Bear the F down. Jonathan Otten always bringing the positivity.
Thank you, J.O. We appreciate it. It was a lot of fun doing all of that, so I'm glad that some people are checking it out. And, yes, by the way, make your move. $36 Die Hard amazing offer. There are so many reasons to become a CHGO Die Hard, including the T-shirt, including the Bagent piece, including all of the stuff we're going to do at training camp every day that's going to be Die Hard exclusive. Tons of stuff coming your way. And, I mean, all over the site, wherever we go, CHGO Blackhawks, CHGO Bears, Cubs, White Sox. Will Gottlieb's been doing some phenomenal work, as always, and especially lately with what's going on with the Bulls, some pieces that have been just absolute straight nails. So, yeah, check it out. Become a diehard. We appreciate the support. 16 days in detail camp, Dirty Dog. You're the star of today's show, buddy. Get a lot of action here. And did anybody miss Rogue Agent? I know I didn't. No. I'm kidding, Rogue Agent. Can't wait to see you, buddy. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Gregory?
I'm going to Jurassic Park tonight.
What does that mean? Is that a movie?
The movie's out.
No, new
Not
movie.
going to actual Jurassic Park.
No, I knew that. There's a movie, Jurassic Park. I love that movie. Craig Leach, $20. Happy American Independence Day to all at CHGO. Thank you, Leach. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Excited.
Thanks again. We're back next week. Hub Arcus, Caitlin Sharkey. I'm gonna try to get Earl Bennett for you. Would you enjoy that?
I'd love to talk to Earl Bennett.
I'm gonna try to get Earl Bennett.
I got somebody in the pipeline too, potentially here next week.
Mubs.
I've been efforting.
Mubs.
No, I've been not Mubs. I've been
Barb.
No, I've been efforting Eric Kramer for a few weeks now, so we'll see if
Nobody tries to get Eric Kramer on
I
the
love
show.
Eric.
I love
Eric's
Eric too.
great.
Yeah, remember
And
when
he gives a good Lions and Bears perspective.
Remember when he came on last year and told everybody that Bo Nix was going to be a good quarterback, and the chat literally called him the biggest idiot of all
Let
time.
him
and he was
up.
dead ass
Let
right.
him up. So, chat, you got to give him his due.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not that Bo Nix is some world mover, but at the same time, you know, drafted higher than anybody thought, and you know, had a good season. So yes,
he nailed
Eric
that
Kramer
call.
knows what he's talking about.
He nailed that call. You all owe him an apology if he comes on here.
Especially you, Chim.
Yeah, Chim probably sat there.
How many
one out.
Jurassic Parks do we need? As many as it takes. Okay. They're never gonna figure out how to not have everything go to crap. We could do a whole show, another hour on Jurassic Park, Jurassic World.
Cheesy Gordita Crunch, we've had Forte on, but we'll try to go for it again and eat one of you this weekend too. Hey, anything else?
Yeah, one note on the Bo Nix thing. Second most pass TDs by a rookie ever last year. 29. So, yeah, Eric Kramer's right.
And that would have been the most in Bears, tied for the most in Bears history with Eric Kramer, who we're trying to get on.
Perfect.
Probably not.
Timeline.
Probably not coming back here because we yelled at him so hard last time. But no, he'll come on. Hey, all right, we're leaving. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you on Monday. And go
Happy
check out
4th of July.
Go check out the Bagent episode. It was just amazing. And another one coming out over this weekend. Just the interview. Oh my God. We'll see you Monday.